Hi guys, Barker here, mum of 3, general crafter, normally focusing on crochet, and today we are once again focusing on crochet. This video is a personal little celebration for me, and I am celebrating this video here getting over 1,000 views on YouTube. And I wish I actually had the crochet model to show you, but it's all. The first time it went to one of my craft fairs, it immediately got snapped up. Right, so I've designed this image here. And you guys know me by now. I can't resist pretending I'm an artist and actually doing a little bit of art on this channel as well. Just using my normal Arteza real ink brush pens and then the pencils to just create this, well, I guess creepypasta. I guess I've accidentally created a creepypasta when trying to put together the image of the mushroom house and the idea of it getting lots of views. If you don't know, creepypastas are kind of like internet folk tales, and maybe this is like if you see mushrooms opening to look at you, maybe they're looking for fresh meat to eat instead of just working on decaying flesh. I'm going to be putting that design onto graph paper, just here. I'm going to make a tapestry wall hanging with it. I'm going to start at the top here, and at the bottom I'm going to taper it off. Now I have found normally when I work from graph paper that a half treble stitch is the best one to use to get the proportions correct. That's what I used on the number 1 cushion, and I transferred that from graph paper as well. But I'm actually going to use a technique that Complicated Knots uses to get perfect squares out of her stitches, and she does this in the following way here. Right, so I'll just show you how to do the perfect square technique. So I've chained 7 here, and I am just going to place 6 double crochet along my foundation chain. I use UK terminology, so if you are US terminology, that would be 6 single crochet stitches. And chain 1 and turn. So far no different than any other basic rows that you would do, and that would be row 1. But this is not row 2. As you can see here, we've got little V's on our stitches. So we've got 2 loops. We have our back loops, and we have our front loops. And what we're going to do is we're going to do 6 slip stitches in the front loops only, all the way to the end of this row. Chain 1 and turn, and now this begins row 2. Now, as you can see, we've got this rise here from our slip stitches, but the loop you're most concerned with is this unworked loop. So you put your slip stitches in the front loops here, but it left the back loops, and that's what we're going to focus on. We're going to put our double crochet underneath that unworked loop all the way through to the back, and just work a standard double crochet, UK terms, single crochet US terms, all the way along. As you can see, I'm going underneath the unworked loop So I've got 5 there, but in this last one you do have to change how you do it. You have to turn your work, push your hook through, yarn over, pull up and pull through. It just helps the stitches stand straighter on the end and prevents the natural lean that the stitches have. Right, so I'm just going to do another row of slip stitches across. Remember, the slip stitches do not count as rows on these types of patterns. If you needed to do an increase with this method, you would simply place 2 of your double crochet or single crochet, US terminology, into the same stitch. There we go. And if you needed to do a decrease, what I would do is I would bend the slip stitched part over, giving me further access to these loops, and I would only work my decrease in these loops. So hook under the first loop, hook under the second loop, yarn over, pull through both of them, yarn over, pull up. That's how I work my decrease. Remember to turn the work at the end. Turn, and I would simply repeat my slip stitches in the front loops to the end. And if you need to do any colour change work, it works the same way as any other colour changes do. All you've got to be wary of is the front loops, because that's what you're working in. And as you can see there, we're already getting perfect little squares. Now if you wanted to do cross stitch over your work as well, this would be an absolute great stitch for that. So I'll be using this stitch method for making the tapestry wall hanging. It's a much stiffer stitch when finished as well, so I don't think it's something that I would move forward to do on blankets, but for a tapestry design I really think it will work. So this is my first time actually working on something exactly like this. I've definitely done images onto blankets before and cushions, but for a pure wall hanging and working only on the one side, realistically, I'll just have to see how this goes. Okay, brace yourself, because there are going to be a lot of mistakes going forward in this pattern. Just daft mistakes on my part, to be honest. And I seriously did consider not posting this video at all and giving up on this crochet tapestry, but I hit a migraine and lost several days where I could actually work on videos, so this one just has to happen. And let's face it, we've all come across projects that haven't gone our way, and we've had to frog them and restart, and frog them and restart, and so on and so on. The main problem I've actually had with this pattern is the fact that I forgot that I'm not very good at reading patterns from graphs, even ones that I create myself. So after I had another failed attempt, I actually started to write down how many stitches I needed to do in each colour. For some reason I'm able to translate the graph into a written pattern, but I can't seem to work directly from a graph. I have no idea why. Alright, the next part of the mistakes where I had to unpick because I lost my place while reading my own written pattern. Like I said, this piece was just riddled with stupid mistakes on my part. I don't even know why I made so many mistakes. I think I might have been thrown off with doing the slip stitch row to get back to the beginning of the working piece. Right, so I actually think I was making progress here because the last few times I'd unpicked when I'd got to actually the top of the mushroom was because it didn't feel it was centered enough within the work. And I think this was the time when it actually got close to where I wanted it. I wouldn't say that this entire experience has put me off doing tapestry crochet pieces. I just know for a fact that next time I'll plan it completely on the graph paper and then translate it into a written pattern. And if anyone has any suggestions of art pieces you would actually like to see me create on a tapestry piece, feel free to contact me on any of my social medias. But I think just to be on the safe side for copyright and everything, it should be something that I've designed myself. So probably go to Cara and find me there. Same username, just look for the green star. For those of you who don't know, Cara's just a new social media platform aimed more towards artists to share their work, and so I've been setting up my profile over there as well. And while we're on the subject of other social media accounts, please remember, I know I mentioned this in last week's video as well, is I'm trying to build up my following on Substack so I can start to use Substack as a way to inform people when my patterns are actually available for sale. Right, the white spots on the mushroom, I know in my drawing they're absolutely perfect circles, and I think that really does work for a cartoony image such as that is. But actually on the crochet piece itself, I decided not to focus on the circles, not because I was having difficulty maintaining everything, but literally because, well, mushrooms don't have perfect circle splodges on them. They are a bit more smushed up, and that's what I felt would look more organic on the crochet tapestry piece. Okay, we're on to the eye here now. I decided to make the eye on the round because I quite liked how it looked in the image, being nice and round. So instead of putting the eye directly into the tapestry work, going backwards and forwards, I decided to do it as this separate piece, which was the beginning of the next round of mistakes and unpicking. This first attempt, I tried basically eyeballing it and putting it in, trying to maintain just continuous rows, not breaking the yarn, simply having the yarn go behind the eye to the other side of the work, slip stitching just a couple of times to secure when I needed it to. And at first this did seem like it was working, but it just ended up not being symmetrical for some reason. And later I realised it's because the image itself and the graph image itself aren't symmetrical themselves. There is a slight asymmetry to the eye and the mushroom cup, and I originally didn't account for that when I was doing this part here, which means that I did end up having to take it all the way back and reinsert in the eye in a different way. As you can see, I did get quite far with inserting the eye, and yeah, it doesn't look too bad. But once it went beyond the bottom of the eye, it was just so wonky. However, it did let me see something that I incorporated later on. The way I'd made the stitches, it was causing the cup of the mushroom to overlap the eye, and this just kept playing in my mind, and I actually emphasized this and incorporated it and actually made it more prominent in the final piece, which you'll see later. So this is frogging back now, and what I decided to do instead was work on each side of the tapestry image and then slowly incorporate the eye as I needed to, which actually started to happen further down the mushroom, and it did actually leave quite a substantial gap. If I had time and to abandon this project and go back to it, I think what I would have done is taken the eye itself apart, built the entire tapestry image with just the gap for the eye, and then made the eye to fit the gap. I think that would have worked much better, and I still would have been able to insert the eye without any distortions to the piece. As you can see here, I'm actually starting to work further and further down the tapestry piece. I chose to completely finish down to the bottom before going back and doing anything else around the eye itself. Right, so I've put the tapestry on a pin board, as you can see, and I'm just giving it a block, sorry for all the external noise, out here. I'm just spraying it with the iron, and then I'm going to just gently hold it on high steam. Just give it a block out, and then I'll leave it to dry. And then what the idea is to create a lid here that'll come slightly out over the eye, and the eye will be like attached underneath the lid. And this is what I'm doing here. The lid is just rows of double crochet work backwards and forwards, not the perfect square technique. There is slip stitches holding the eye to the lid, holding the lid to the tapestry piece. And then it's just a case of the final details of the hanging loops. I did 3 of them, and they are just basic DC rows working back and forth with a buttonhole and a button attached in them as well. Alright, here it is. So we've got our little lid here. We put buttons on the top tabs for it to hang. And there is a row of double crochet, that's UK terms, along the entire edge. Right, am I happy with the final piece? Yes. Am I happy with how messed up all the making was? No. So I won't be writing and releasing a pattern for this one unless someone actually requests it, because it's very much my taste, so I wouldn't expect anyone to want this to make for themselves. But if you do, just drop me a comment, and yeah, I'll get it all typed up. Patterns, my patterns usually cost about £5 UK, so I think that's about $6 US. I'm not sure about other conversions. Alright guys, I'll see you next week. Bye. And as per usual, I had a little visitor while I was crafting. Twin 2 decided to come in and do a picture of her own.